Ladies, let me talk to you about something that's going to change the way you look at relationships forever. Too many times, women think that in order to build a strong connection with a man, they've got to tell him every single thing that's ever happened in their life. They think honesty means opening up the whole book, cover to cover, on the very first day. But let me tell you something. Wisdom is knowing what part of your story to share and what part to keep private until the time is right. Because here's the truth, not every man is strong enough, wise enough, or invested enough to handle your past the way it deserves to be handled. See, a woman's past is powerful. It's not something you just hand over like a receipt at the grocery store. Your past is your history, your growth, your journey, the things that shaped you into the woman you are today. But not every man deserves front row seats to that show. Some men, if you give them every detail about your past mistakes, your past heartbreaks, the people who wronged you, or even the things you regret, will use that information against you later. And I know you've seen this before. You open up to a man, you tell him about how someone cheated on you, how you stayed longer than you should have, how you made choices when you were younger that you're not proud of. And then one day in an argument, he throws it back in your face. That's when it hits you, maybe I shared too much too soon. Now, I'm not saying you should lie. I'm not saying you should pretend to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have a past. But there's a difference between honesty and oversharing. There's a difference between transparency and handing somebody a weapon they can use to hurt you. Men, just like women, can be judgmental. And here's the kicker. Sometimes a man will say he's cool with your past. He'll nod his head, smile, act like it doesn't bother him. But then later, when insecurity hits, when jealousy creeps in, when he feels threatened, he'll dig back into the very thing you told him in trust. And that's when you realize why protecting your past is so important. Let me tell you a little truth about men. Men are competitive by nature. If you tell him too much about your past relationships, he's going to measure himself against those men. If you tell him about the times you got hurt, he might start looking at you like you're broken, like you need fixing, instead of seeing you as the strong, resilient woman you are today. And if you tell him about choices you made, mistakes you regret, he might lose respect for you, not because you're unworthy, but because he doesn't have the maturity to see beyond it. That's why I tell women all the time, protect your past, because not every man is equipped to carry it. Here's another thing mystery keeps a man intrigued. When you meet a man, he doesn't need your entire autobiography on day one. He doesn't need to know who broke your heart in high school, who you dated in college, or what mistakes you made when you were trying to figure life out. What he needs to know is who you are right now. What he needs to see is the woman sitting in front of him, the woman who's grown, who's learned, who's standing tall despite everything life threw at her. And here's the beauty of it. When a man is truly serious about you, when he's shown you consistency, loyalty, and you can slowly open up, then you can let him in little by little. Because by then, he's earned the right to know the parts of your past that made you stronger. See, too many women think, if I don't tell him everything up front, he's going to think I'm hiding something. No, baby, he's going to think you're wise. He's going to respect the fact that you value your story enough not to just hand it out to anybody. You don't walk into a bank and see them giving away the vault combination on a flyer. No, they protect what's valuable. And your past, your story is valuable. It's not shameful. It's not worthless. It's not something to hide in fear. It's just not something every man should be allowed to hold. Now, let's be real. There are men who will love you deeper once they know your past because they see your strength and resilience. But those men reveal themselves over time. You can't know in the first month, sometimes not even in the first year if he's that man. That's why pacing yourself matters. Think of your past like chapters in a book. A good book doesn't give away the ending in the introduction. It takes you on a journey. It makes you turn the pages. And the more invested you are, the more you learn. That's exactly how you handle your past with a man. Another reason to protect your past is this: you're not the same woman you used to be. Why should you let somebody judge you today based on a version of yourself that doesn't even exist anymore? The woman you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, she had her struggles, she had her lessons, but you've grown since then. So if a man is only interested in digging into your past instead of appreciating the woman you've become, that tells you he's not the one for you. Because the right man will focus on building a future with you, not living in the shadows of what came before him. Let me also say this. Sometimes women tell too much about their past because they're trying to prove they're trustworthy, trying to prove they've got nothing to hide. But trust isn't built by confession. It's built by consistency. A man doesn't learn to trust you because you told him every detail of your past. He learns to trust you because your actions match your words, because you keep showing up as the woman you say you are. So don't fall into the trap of thinking that oversharing earns you love. It doesn't. It just exposes you to the risk of being misunderstood. And ladies, let me add this. When you protect your past, you're not just protecting yourself from a man's judgment. You're protecting your peace. Some stories are heavy. Some memories are painful. Every time you retell them, you relive them. And unless you know a man is strong enough to carry that weight with you, don't hand it over. Because when you give someone your pain and they mishandle it, it cuts deeper than the original wound. That's why wisdom says hold on to it until you know he can be trusted with it. Think about it. If you meet a man and he immediately dumps all his past mistakes, his bad decisions, his failures, his exes, his heartbreaks on you, wouldn't you feel overwhelmed? Wouldn't you question why he's still so tied to those experiences? Well, the same goes for you. Don't drown a man in your history. Give him the present. Give him the woman you are now. Give him the joy of discovering you step by step. At the end of the day, protecting your past isn't about shame. It's about wisdom. It's about guarding your heart, valuing your journey, and refusing to let anybody use your story against you. And when the right man comes along, when he shows you with his actions that he's loyal, patient, and invested, then and only then can you decide how much of your past he deserves to know. Ladies, let me tell you something that too many women overlook in relationships: your money, your financial situation, your wallet. That's your business until a man has proven without a shadow of a doubt that he's in it for the long haul. See, I've met so many women who will give a man the keys to their heart, their time, their body, and on top of all that, they'll give him access to their finances way before he's earned it. And then when it blows up in their face, they sit there wondering where they went wrong. Baby, let me make it plain. You cannot give a man access to your financial life unless he has proven he's worthy of that level of trust. Here's the truth. Money is power. Money is stability. Money is freedom. And for a lot of women, money is also a symbol of independence. So why would you hand over your financial details to a man who hasn't committed, who hasn't shown consistency, who hasn't put in the effort to prove he's here to stay? That's like leaving your front door wide open and expecting strangers not to walk in. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you can't ever share your financial reality with a man. I'm saying timing matters. If you've only been dating him for a couple months and you're already telling him how much you make, what you owe, what's in your bank account, or what you got saved up, you're making a mistake. Because here's what happens: a man who doesn't have the right intentions will start looking at you as a resource, not as a partner. Instead of seeing you as a woman to love, he'll see you as an opportunity to exploit. And that's dangerous. I've heard women say, but Steve, I just want to be transparent. I don't want him to think I'm hiding something. And I tell them this: transparency doesn't mean exposure. You can be honest without handing a man your entire financial report. Because let's be real, some men will take that information and use it to manipulate you. If he knows you're financially secure, he might start leaning on you to pay for things, to cover bills, to carry the weight while he coasts. If he knows you're struggling, he might judge you, look down on you, or even use it as an excuse to question your worth. Either way, giving him too much too soon puts you in a vulnerable position. Here's what you've got to understand: a good man, the right man, will respect the fact that you protect your finances. He's not going to demand to know your salary, your credit score, or how much debt you're carrying on date number 3. He's going to focus on building a connection with you as a person, not as a paycheck. And if he pressures you for financial details early on, that's your red flag. That's your sign that maybe he's not with you for the right reasons. Ladies, you've worked too hard to build what you have to let somebody come in and misuse it. Every dollar you've earned, every dime you've saved, every investment you've made, that's the product of your grind, your hustle, your discipline. Why would you give that away like it's nothing? You've got to treat your financial life the same way you treat a diamond. You don't just hand it to anyone who asks. You protect it, you guard it, you keep it safe until somebody proves they'll handle it with care. And let's talk about commitment. If a man is truly serious about you, if he's looking to build a life with you, then eventually, yes, finances become part of the conversation. But by then, you'll know he's invested. You'll know he's consistent. You'll know he's not just here today and gone tomorrow. See, money becomes a shared topic when marriage is on the table, when building a home together is real, when planning a future is no longer just words but actions. Until that point, your finances are your private business. I've seen too many women carry men financially because they shared too much too soon. He finds out she's got good credit. Next thing you know, she's co-signing loans for him. He finds out she's got savings. Next thing you know, he's asking her to help him out with his dreams, his projects, his rent, his car note. And listen, I know women are nurturers. You want to help, you want to support, you want to build. But you've got to remember, support is for a partner, not for a project. Don't let a man turn you into his financial safety net. And let's be real, sometimes it's not even about him taking advantage. Sometimes it's about the dynamic it creates. When a man knows too much about your money, it shifts the balance. If you make more than him and you put that out there too soon, he might feel insecure, like he's not good enough. If you make less than him, he might start treating you like you're dependent on him, like you need him to survive. Either way, it messes with the power balance before the relationship even has a solid foundation. That's why I say, guard it. Keep it private until you know the bond is strong enough to handle it. Another thing, financial mistakes are part of life. Maybe you've got debt. Maybe you made bad money choices in the past. Maybe you're rebuilding your credit. That's your journey, and it's not something you owe a man an explanation for right away. Because if you tell the wrong man, he'll look at you as less valuable, as if your past decisions define you. But a man who's really for you, he's going to love you regardless, and when the time is right, he'll stand by you while you build. But he's got to earn the right to know that part of your life. Let's flip it for a second. If a man came to you on the first date and told you his income, his credit score, how much debt he's in, and every detail of his financial life, wouldn't you look at him sideways? Wouldn't you wonder why he's telling you all this? It would feel like too much, too fast. That's exactly how you've got to think about your own situation. Financial intimacy is just like physical intimacy. You don't give it to everybody. You wait until trust is there, until commitment is proven, until you know he's not going anywhere. And here's the thing, ladies, guarding your finances doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean you don't trust men. It means you trust yourself enough to protect what you've built. It means you understand that love is about partnership, not dependency. It means you know your worth, and you refuse to let a man define your value by your bank account. When you stand firm on this, the right man will respect it. He won't push you. He won't pry. He won't guilt you into revealing things you're not ready to share. Instead, he'll focus on showing you he's worthy of your trust, worthy of your time, worthy of your future. And when you finally do open up about your finances, it'll be with confidence, knowing that this man is not here to take, but to build. Ladies, one of the most valuable lessons you'll ever learn in relationships is this: not every man deserves access to the inner circle of your family business. You've got to understand that your family, your parents, your siblings, your children, your bloodline, that's sacred ground. And the things that go on within that circle are not for every man you date to know. Too many women make the mistake of giving a man too much insight into the private matters of their family way before he's earned it. And then they wonder why he uses that information to judge, to gossip, or even to control. Let me make this plain: your family struggles, conflicts, and private matters are not his business until he has shown himself to be trustworthy enough to handle them. See, when you invite a man into your family drama too soon, you give him access to something he hasn't built the right to carry. Maybe your family isn't perfect. Nobody's family is. Maybe you've got a relative who struggles with addiction. Maybe there's financial hardship. Maybe there are old wounds that never healed. Or maybe there's just everyday dysfunction. That's normal. But the moment you sit down with a man and start exposing all of that, you hand him a version of your family that he may never respect, and he hasn't even seen the whole picture yet. Here's the truth. Some men will take those family secrets and twist them. He might smile when you tell him, act understanding, even nod like he cares, but later on, when things get rocky between you two, he'll throw those same family issues back in your face. He'll remind you of that cousin you told him about, or that parent who failed you, or that sibling who betrayed you, and suddenly you realize he's weaponizing the very thing you shared with him in confidence. That's why you've got to protect your family's privacy. Another thing, sometimes when you expose your family secrets too early, you unintentionally paint a picture of yourself that a man may not understand. If you tell him about a chaotic childhood or about how your family betrayed your trust, he might start looking at you like you're broken, like you're damaged, or like you're carrying baggage he doesn't want to deal with. And that's not fair to you because your family's mistakes are not your mistakes. You're your own person. You're not responsible for the choices other people in your family made. But if you hand those stories over to the wrong man, he may judge you by them anyway. Let me break it down another way. Family is personal. It's sacred. It's where you come from, And whether it's good, bad, or in between, it belongs to you and the people in it. That bond deserves protection. Imagine how you'd feel if someone you love shared your private struggles with a stranger who hasn't even proven himself. You'd feel betrayed, right? Well, it's the same thing when you give your man too much access too soon. You're exposing the people who raised you, the people who love you, to someone who hasn't yet earned that position in your life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying never share anything. I'm saying timing and trust matter. When a man has shown you that he's serious, that he's consistent, that he wants a real future with you, then little by little you can open up. But that's after he's put in the work, after he's shown loyalty, after he's shown he can handle sensitive information without using it against you. Until then, he doesn't need to know all the family dynamics. Sometimes women think that by sharing family secrets, they're creating intimacy, like, if I tell him what I've been through, he'll feel closer to me. But here's the problem. Real intimacy is built on trust and respect, not on oversharing. If a man hasn't proven his commitment, all you're doing is giving him ammunition. A good man, the right man, will earn his way into those private parts of your life. And when you do let him in, he'll respect your family even with all their flaws. Let me tell you something else. Men are observers. If you talk down about your family all the time, he's going to assume you'll talk down about him in the same way. If you expose every fight, every argument, every shortcoming your family has, he'll start to look at you as someone who doesn't know how to protect the people closest to her. And here's the kicker. If he sees you can't protect your own family's dignity, he might start thinking you won't protect his either. That's why guarding family secrets isn't just about respect for them. It's also about showing the kind of woman you are. Loyal, wise, and trustworthy. And ladies, let's be real. Every family has baggage. Every family has secrets. Every family has something behind closed doors that doesn't need to be aired out in front of the world. And men, just like women, can be judgmental. If you tell him too much, he might see your whole family as a problem, and that judgment will spill over onto how he sees you. He may start pulling back, not because you did something wrong, but because he can't separate you from the issues you shared. That's why you've got to be wise enough to protect your circle until he proves he's mature enough to see the bigger picture. Here's another truth. Sometimes the man you're with won't even stay long enough to matter. And if you've already spilled your family's secrets to him, then guess what? He leaves with pieces of your family's dignity. He walks away with stories that don't belong to him, stories that should have stayed inside your home. And that's dangerous because you never know who he'll share them with or how he'll twist them to suit his narrative. Think about it. If your relationship doesn't work out, you can walk away with your heart intact if you didn't give away too much. But if you gave him every detail about your family, then he's not just walking away with your story. He's walking away with theirs too. That's why you don't hand that over casually. Now, when the right man comes along, when he's shown patience, respect, and loyalty, then yes, you let him see the real you, which includes the reality of your family. But even then, you've got to use wisdom. Not every detail needs to be told. Some things are private forever. Some family struggles aren't for him to carry. And a wise man, a man who loves you, will understand that. He won't push. He won't pry. He won't demand you tell him everything. He'll respect the boundaries you set, and he'll honor your decision to keep certain things sacred. So ladies, remember this. Protecting your family secrets isn't about being dishonest. It's about being respectful. It's about valuing where you come from, no matter how messy it may be, and refusing to let someone mishandle it. A man who's really for you will stick around long enough to see the truth, and when he does, he'll love you and respect you even more because you guarded what was important. Ladies, let me tell you something real plain. Every single one of us has insecurities. Every woman, every man, everybody walking this earth has something about themselves they don't like, something they wish they could change, something that makes them feel less than perfect. But the mistake too many women make is thinking they need to lay all those insecurities on the table for a man to see, as if being vulnerable in that way is going to make him love them more. The truth is, a man doesn't respect you more when you expose all your weaknesses up front. He respects you when you carry yourself with confidence, when you own who you are, when you stand tall even with the things you don't like about yourself. See, here's the thing about men. Men are visual, men are competitive, and men are observant. If you tell him everything you don't like about yourself, you're handing him a map of your soft spots. You're literally giving him the blueprint to your doubts and fears. And while a good man might never use that against you, the wrong man will. He'll take those insecurities and play with them, poke at them, or even manipulate you because he knows exactly where you feel weakest. That's why you've got to protect your insecurities and not put them out there like free samples at the store. When you walk into a relationship, the way you present yourself sets the tone for how a man sees you. If you walk in confident, even if deep down you've got your own doubts, he sees a woman who knows her worth. But if you walk in immediately pointing out everything you don't like, your body, your past, your career, your mistakes, then he starts seeing you through the lens of those insecurities. And once he sees you that way, it's hard to shift his perception. That's why projecting confidence, even when you're still working on it, is so powerful. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you to fake perfection. Nobody believes that. What I'm telling you is to be selective about what you reveal and when you reveal it. There's nothing wrong with having insecurities. The problem comes when you hand them over to somebody who hasn't proven that he knows how to protect them. Think about it. Would you give a priceless piece of jewelry to someone you just met and say, "Here, hold this for me"? No. You'd keep it safe until you know that person can handle the responsibility. Your insecurities are no different. They are precious. They are sensitive. And not every man deserves to carry them. Here's something else women don't always realize. Sometimes the very thing you're insecure about is the very thing a man finds most attractive. Maybe you don't like your laugh, but he thinks it's beautiful. Maybe you're insecure about your curves, but he's drawn to them. Maybe you feel like your ambition makes men intimidated, but the right man sees it as inspiring. So why point out what you don't like before he even has the chance to see it for himself? When you shine confidently, you give him the opportunity to admire you without coloring his vision with your self-doubts. And let's talk about energy for a minute. Insecurities create a certain energy, and energy is contagious. If you constantly talk down about yourself, you constantly highlight your flaws, you're putting out negative energy. And guess what? That energy affects how a man feels around you. He doesn't see the confident, powerful, radiant woman you are. He sees someone who doesn't even believe in herself. And if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect him to believe in you? That's why protecting your insecurities isn't about hiding. It's about maintaining the energy of self-respect, the energy of worthiness, the energy of confidence. Another thing you've got to understand is that men are problem solvers by nature. If you start unloading all your insecurities, his instinct will be to fix them. But here's the problem. Your insecurities aren't his job to fix. They're yours. When you dump them on him, you're asking him to carry a weight that doesn't belong to him. And over time, that can become a burden in the relationship. A man will respect you so much more if he sees you handling your insecurities with grace, working on yourself, improving and growing, instead of asking him to patch up every hole in your self-esteem. Now, don't mistake this for shutting him out. When you're in a serious, committed relationship, vulnerability has its place. Sharing certain fears, certain doubts, that's part of intimacy. But again, it's about timing. You don't start spilling everything on day one. You wait until trust has been built, until you've seen consistency, until he's shown he has the maturity to handle your heart with care. Then, when you share an insecurity, he doesn't use it against you. He comforts you, he supports you, he encourages you. But that's after he's proven he's the kind of man who lifts you up, not one who tears you down. Ladies, let me put it this way. A man is going to believe what you tell him about yourself. If you tell him you're strong, if you tell him you're valuable, if you tell him you're a queen, he's going to start seeing you like that. If you tell him you're not good enough, if you tell him you're not pretty, if you tell him you're not worthy, he's going to start believing that too. Your words have power. The way you talk about yourself shapes the way he sees you. So why hand him a negative script to read from? Give him something uplifting, something powerful, something that reinforces the value you already know you have. And let's not ignore this truth. Confidence is attractive. It's magnetic. When you walk in a room with your head held high, when you smile like you know you've got something special, when you own your presence, men notice. They may not even be able to put it into words, but they feel it. That kind of energy draws people in. Insecurities, on the other hand, push people away because they create doubt, they create tension, they create heaviness. Guarding your insecurities protects that aura of confidence that makes you irresistible. Sometimes women think, if I show him my insecurities, he'll know I'm real. He'll know I'm not perfect. But baby, your humanity shows in how you treat him, how you love, how you communicate. You don't need to expose your deepest fears to prove you're real. You prove you're real by being authentic, by being consistent, by being genuine. Your insecurities don't define your authenticity, your character does. And here's one more thing. Protecting your insecurities also protects your peace. The more you talk about them, the more they stay alive in your mind. The more you rehearse them out loud, the stronger they grow. But when you protect them, when you choose not to speak them over yourself, you give yourself room to focus on your strengths, on your beauty, on the things you're proud of. And that shift in focus not only changes how you see yourself, it changes how everybody else sees you, including the man you're with. So ladies, the lesson is simple. Every woman has insecurities, but not every man deserves to hear them. Carry yourself with confidence even when you're still working on it. Don't hand a man the blueprint to your soft spots until he's proven he's worthy. And most importantly, speak about yourself in a way that reinforces your value, because the way you see you is the way he's going to see you too.